anyone is late, just you still can submit, okay? So for the in-class discussion that we had last time, was it this one? Okay, we only had Lena. Nice. Well done. Where's Lena?
It's not here.
Excellent. That's very good. Okay. So how about you guys? Did you get any similar result? Any of you? Type. So we did this last time, if you remember. We went through the web part of how to add an image, how to add bullet points, how to add hyperlinks, right? And we got to see how to resize, let's say, an icon, making it a bit smaller when it comes to width and height, right? So we've taken these basics. Again, I'm not showing you this part of the chapter to memorize it. You will take this entirely as a whole course, but you just need to differentiate between the languages at least, okay? So we've seen HTML, if you remember, with some touch of JavaScript when it comes to that part here. You can still merge it with CSS, which we will talk about inshallah today as well in the other course. And I will also get you through the Python code that does the same exact job. We will have a look into XML, we will look into MySQL, and we will do a very interesting exercise towards the end with C++. So again, we're just taking quick snaps from these languages to be able to tell what platform it is actually efficient in and how to use it. So let's resume from here. Just a quick reminder of what we were trying to do here. Same exact form, we're having a sign-in page that runs on a mobile phone, another one that runs over a web application, and same exact interface, but this one is Python related. It works mostly on tkinter as a library. So that's what we will look at for today mostly. So there is this library that I need to first import and use, which is the tkinter. And after importing it, you just need to rename it properly. So every time you mention tk in your code, it's as if you're referring back to the same library. So as here is just for renaming. Now once you're here, now think of this code like what we do in JavaFX, okay? You're all taking here SE201? Okay, perfect. So remember when we do create the stage, let's say, which is the main container, and then we have the scene inside it. So think of this like root and frame, okay? The root is the big picture, the window, okay? And the frame is what you put the content in. It could be a pane, it could be a layout, it could be a scene, any possible scope, okay? So that's what we try to do here. So we start with the root. So the root gets access to the library that you imported. Then I need here to set a title for it. So this title is saying login. And I have geometry, which defines the size of this window in terms of width and height. Now, after finishing that part, we jump into the frame, right? So now I define a frame, and this frame gets access to the frame class inside the TK library. You attach it to the root in first place. So the root that we created in the previous step. We set a background color for it, which is white. We attach a border to it of width 2 pixels. And the type of this border is going to be group. I'll talk about these types as well when we start today's chapter, inshallah, of SE201. Now we place it in a relative position for X and Y. We place it in the center of our own root with width and height equivalent to 360 by 220. So again, this frame, just to show you the big picture now, so this part here is your frame, okay? But this whole thing here is what we call it root. So this frame here is placed in the middle of your interface, okay?
الفريم اللي هو الصغير صح دكتور؟
Yes, yes, true. Now this frame here, now I put a title. So you'll start seeing now I'm placing text, and the text is nothing but a label. But again, this label is taking its own properties and features from the TK library that I just imported. So this is going to be the title. Again, this title is attached to the frame, which is the small part. And the text that will be displayed on it is going to be the sign-in as text. This is the font type. We call it font family. And this is the font size, endpoints. Then I also put it in a background color white. So it matches the same exact background color of the big root. Then I have email text, then text field, password text, then password field. So this is how I do it. I start with the label. The label here says email with a background color white. You place it at a given position X and Y 2060. And
دكتور الباك حق ايش؟ حق البوكس
تبع البوكس نفسه exactly تبع الليبل. So it takes the same exact background. See, we're unifying all the backgrounds for all elements. When it was the root used to be also white. The frame used to be white. This title used to have also white background. So every element that you put, you just give it either the same background color or different color. Then the entry is similar to the text field. So it's the place where the user input the username and password. So tk.entry, now you attach it to the frame. So this becomes its own parent, like we attached the frame to the root, if you remember, right? So this one here is attached to the frame. And then you specify the total width of this input field. So it takes up to 30 pixels to finish its own width. And you start placing it at a given position, 20 and 82 for the Y. Now, if you pay attention, you will notice that all X values are starting at the same exact point. So here, let's say, the title is X20. Here, it's X20, and later also this is X20. If you go back here, so X is the same, right? There's no change. What differs from this element to this element to this element to this element is what?
Why?
The value of 5. No, X is the same, right? It's the same for all.
At the end X.
What?
X at the end.
This one? We call this margin in that case. Okay? So X usually you measure it from the topmost left point, right? So here you say this is my X and this is my Y. So we measure from 0, 0, from here. Okay? So at our case, we start our 0, 0 from here because we are attaching it to the frame. So relatively, the 20 measure will start from here, not here. So you will start counting 20, then this is going to be the email. Then I don't know, maybe 40, this is going to be our text box. 60 is the password label, and then last one is, let's say, 80. Okay, so this is my label now. Now I attach the password entry field to the frame, and it shows me just asterisk as letters, so it hides all possible characters. The width of this field again is 30 pixels for the width, and you place it at given position X and Y, 20 again, but the Y here is 134. So that's how we do it using Python. Okay, now how to do it using mobile applications. With mobile applications, we try to split the logic into 2 different languages. Front end is one language, back end is another language. Front end is similar to what we've seen in web already. Like in web, we did it using HTML, remember? Here, we will use a language we know as XML, okay? Again, it's markup language, but it's mostly mostly interested in building the graphical user interface of the front end side. Alright, so before we get started, let me quickly review a few concepts for you. We talk layouts, let's say in JavaFX, right? Or what we know as pane. We've seen the V box, the H box, right? It's the same exact idea here. It's an arrangement or layout that's allowing you to either arrange items next to each other in a row or below each other in a column, right? So here, I can define the biggest parent of all as linear layout. You start it here, you end it here, okay? Now this is a very similar syntax to HTML, remember? Now the nice part here is you can define its own orientation as a property. So you can say either this linear layout goes vertical or horizontal, which means either items are next to each other or below each other, right? Now here, for the background, you can put any possible color for it. So now these two properties belong to linear layout, right? That's why I enclose them within the start and closing tag of my starting element tag. Now between this and this, I can list any possible node inside, right? So one node could be text, one node could be edit text, which is input field. Another edit text and another button. So my text field, my text view here is gonna say sign in. This is gonna be the Android text displayed. The size is gonna be 28 SP. SP here is just a unit. It represents scale level pixels. That's why when you, let's say, zoom in on any website or even mobile, the text also zoom in, right? So you don't see it pixelized or anything. It keeps a good scale, right? So SP here is a unit that's meant for that purpose. We also can turn it into bold using text style. Again, another property that comes under text view. We have these two, the layout width and layout height. These two are mostly telling you how this element will exist inside this layout. So, for example, if this is my button, let's assume this is a button, okay? If I put it here, and let's assume this is the width and this is the height, okay? So I know that whatever content I'm placing inside this button will fit within this space, okay? So if I put it here, and I limit its own scope to that area, it means I'm wrapping the content, right? But if I say, okay, I need this element to take the entire width of my own screen, now this is match parent, okay? So the value itself will tell you how big this element will take out of your own screen size. So match parent means what? What's the parent of this button?
The frame.
This button, or let's say this text or this edit text.
The linear layout.
The linear layout is the parent, right? So linear layout takes the full screen size. If I say match parent, it means expand, right? So for the width, expand and take the entire width. For the height, expand and take the whole height. Now, if I say wrap content, it means what? Decide on the content that will be stored in this text. Let's say it says hello. This is 5 characters long, right? Can take 5 pixels, 7 pixels, I don't know. Within this number of pixels, you terminate the text space, okay? So now inside this linear layout, I have text view. Again, it has text size, text style, the width and the height. Then there is the margin. Margin button tells you that there is a space, empty one, between this element and the one that comes afterwards. Yeah? So between text view and edit text, I do expect a small space.
Doctor, the password input and the login button, are those like action events? Or are those
No,
used
just design.
just for design?
Just for design, yes. But again, the way it's made here with mobile application, they split the logic in 2 separate languages. So unlike JavaFX, you're building the design and you're building the events handling, both in the same language, right? Which is easy to do. Now later, you will see that in mobile, you build an XML, the interface, but then in the back end, you run it with Java. This is for Android, okay? Or you run it in Kotlin, if this is Android.
ما اقدر اشغل الاف اكس بالموبايل ابلكيشن يعني اذا بسوي ما
No, no. That's why I told you for
يعني
ninth
ما عندنا فايدة بس
semester.
يعني على الويب.
Okay, so development types in general هم 3 types. Either desktop applications or web applications or mobile applications. Yeah. This is desktop application. So like when you have here an application icon, let's say مثلا Apache NetBeans. That's an application, desktop application. And if you open it, it shows you menus, it shows you panes. We will learn actually how to build a similar interface to that one, okay? And let's assume I build just anything here for now. So for example, we will learn how to look into a dialog similar to this one, how to split it into 2 portions, right? How to have, I mean, this is entirely what we've seen, right? So how these windows are created, how it prevents you from interacting, let's say, unless you interact with this one first. So this is all coming in this chapter and the next one, inshallah. But again, this is desktop level. Here, we're talking about mobile level. So they separate the content into front end and back end, and each has its own language of